Hey everybody, how's it going? I thought today I'd talk a little bit about triggers. I'll try to keep this one brief. It's really important that when you struggle, that you become self-aware of what causes and triggers your downfall and your spirals into the abyss. Most people, when they're struggling, they don't take the time to evaluate or analyze what this is. It's an objective exercise. In many cases, it has to be done when you're well. One of the smartest things I ever saw and was recommended to do, I should say, I saw a treatment plan, but this isn't rocket science, was to just write down the things. What are the things that cause you, that generates the most significant discomfort and symptoms associated with your illness? Write it down. Like now. Like when you're done watching this video, like write it down. Don't waste time. Because this is the kind of stuff that you need to understand, so when you start to have something happen, you can make sure that whoever is the closest to you, friend, family member, whatever, heck, it could be our group for all I care, posting in Facebook, let someone know that this is starting to happen. And the person needs to know the triggers and that list. So it's something that's done in advance, so it doesn't turn into a nightmare. So if you're married, this takes a lot of discipline, because at least in our marriage, it took a lot of work to not have my falls generate conflict, because it seemed like it was masked in some sort of disagreement, where in reality there was a trigger that occurred, and at the end of that trigger I was done. I mean, I went down to the bottom. So my wife and I worked really hard on this, and God bless her, she's very patient, and she started to really embrace and understand that. So to me, by having this list, this is huge. So that when it happens, like I said, you can stop. You have a prayer you put together. You stop what you're doing. You just stop, like right in the middle of whatever sentence you have. You recognize it's happening, and you create a prayer. And I'll post this for you guys on my website, so you have it. But that way you insert God right in the middle of your sufferings at that exact moment, rather than waiting till after the fact. And this is not easy. It's like I said, it's going to take practice. So I've got 5 things that I struggle with, and triggers. And those 5 things, my over sentimental loss of aspects of my children, a feeling of utter loss and devastation, even though it's a total lie, losing parts of their life in a way that isn't just about, oh shoot, they're growing up. It's it's crippling. Thing I've dealt with my whole life, just the security of being a man, and what that means when you're sentimental and you're emotional. That doesn't work real well being a guy. That doesn't really fit into society. And so trying to fit in was always a hard thing for me. I mean, I like my mantra things like everybody else. I like college football and sports, and I was an artist, and I like music, and I like technology, and I liked a lot of things. But the bottom line was, my DNA, it didn't seem to fit the mold of being a man. So that was really tough. It was really, really tough. So whenever things related to that would trigger that. If routines got really jacked up and I started to feel like we were rushed, or I was being shifted too quickly to one thing to another, that would tend to be a trigger that would just massively start anxiety. going through a divorce feeling like you're not a very good husband or you're not good enough. So that divorce was, in terms of what it affected my confidence, it was massive. It was devastating of what that did to me. You know, when you have somebody that cheats on you, it kind of permanently plants the seed of doubt that you deserve to be loved. And again, it's untrue. And there's a couple others, but the point is that that's triggers. So when that starts to happen, and those sensations start to happen, little things with my kids will trigger that stuff. You know, stuff with the man stuff will get triggered. The routine stuff will get triggered. You know, I would say some of the anxiety stuff that I shared with an earlier one about my work can trigger really bad falls. I have to know that. And I have to stop. And I have to find that prayer. And if someone's there, have them pray it for you. Otherwise, pray it yourself. And just don't let the enemy suck you into this garbage of lies when you're at the most vulnerable and you're the sickest. Because that's what it is. You're sick. We're sick when this stuff happens. And it's not, you know, we can pop pills, right? And that's part of the medicine. But when you're in the middle of the moment, ain't no pill going to change that problem. And the only medicine I've been able to discover that helps me in my worst situations is Christ. Because he comes in there with a message of truth and grace and redemption and love. And he hugs me and he tells me, it's okay. You are loved. And you are made on purpose. And I am always here when you struggle. He can't prevent it, but he can help you deal with it. God bless you always.